What's up, everyone? Welcome to Those Boys. This is episode 25. I am Zach.
I am Nathan. This is the podcast where we talk about mostly religious trauma, and specifically our religious trauma. We are both pastors' kids.
I thought you were just going to pause there and say we're both pastors.
We're both pastors currently in the whatever you would call not a church. That is the basis of our podcast. We're just those boys who decided to break out of the church and then start their own podcast to talk to you about what's really going on.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes,
or at least from our perspective.
Yeah.
We're giving our perspective.
So thanks for being here. Episode 25.
25.
This is a goals being met.
Yeah. Straight up, dude.
In nursing, there's short-term goals, long-term short-term goals, long-term goals.
Yeah.
And this felt like a long-term goal. It was at first, but now this
from
is
episode 1, this was a very long-term
goal. But now, we're here. Yeah. This is one of the short-term goals out of the long-term goal of 100 episodes.
The 100 is going to be the big one.
So, congratulations, Zachary. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, man.
You've done well. 25 episodes.
We've done very well, yes.
Yeah, thank you. And then live in studio once again for the third time, Chantel Bogue, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, straight up.
Bogue Design, our graphic designer who has been
tagging along,
relentlessly supportive.
Yeah. Almost too supportive. Let's just be real.
It's kind of like, hold on a minute. This is our trauma? No, I'm just kidding. No, it's funny. There's we were actually just talking with Chantel before the cast and or the podcast. Mm-hmm. I hate that when people say that.
I love the cast.
The cast.
I think the pod is cooler.
Before we're jumping into the pod, I hate that too. The podcast. We were talking about this idea of synchronicity.
Yeah.
And how like us and Chantel go way far back. We've talked about it. Like we've done art with our music. She does all of your graphic design for your music, which nothing recently has come out.
No,
right?
Not recently.
She didn't do any art for your music recently.
Oh wait, except for this last Friday, a song came out, and then also like a month before that, another song came out.
You just blew my mind.
Blow my mind. Come on over, blow my mind. Yeah, that just came out.
It was number 1 on my super mix.
Which is funny. I wanted some promotional shorts for this weekend, and I just realized that it's like, oh wait, I'm not going to be doing the shorts for that one until next week. So we're going to have some late promotion for it, which is great. A little late promo is fine.
All of those boys promos 1 week late.
Yeah, well, it's actually 1 week. It used to be 2 weeks late, and so now we're on the 1 week, which I think is better because then we can talk about current events.
I also feel to be like editing because you do all the shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the podcast, and so like editing it the same week we do it feels like, oh, that's right, we just did this, rather than trying to remember kind of how it felt.
Well, you'd really like take a step into the past and be like, oh, this is episode 21, and then you'd be editing that, and like I would just get in this headspace of like, I can't believe I forgot we talked about all this stuff.
Plus, you also every week now, I don't know if this is happening. We talk about this every week, and I think it needs to be, is that it's getting like realer and realer to talk about real trauma and then edit it again.
Yeah.
So you talk about it, get it all out, and then why don't you go ahead and edit yourself talking about it?
Yeah.
And then you can like really break it down.
It's an experiment.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's incredibly successful. At least for me, it is like helping me analyze my trauma in a way I didn't even think about it. Right. And like I guarantee you there's got to be some form of therapy out there where you do something similar, where you almost like
creating it.
Maybe we're part of that science, but you almost have like a camera on you during your therapy, and then you have to go back and watch it, because watching yourself talk about your trauma and say it makes me feel it so much differently.
And then you're just like making me remember from just like all the podcasts I watch, like comedians, like comedians will tell you like right when you're getting started, one of the things you couldn't start quicker is like watching yourself after your performances, which normally, your first like 5 years as a comedian or anything that's on a stage where you have to keep going up and bombing, where you're just bombing after bombing. If you watch, it's like nobody wants to watch themselves bomb or fail. But if you just get used to yourself, whatever that means, like then you get really used to seeing yourself bomb, and then you can start really like hyper analyzing. And what's weird is that we are a comedian. I mean, I like to make jokes, but a lot of what we're editing lately, we have our cast where it's like moment to Reddit and some fun stuff, but I've really enjoyed having the healing power of this cast for us has been like shockingly real. And then like editing it has been like, oh, hey, Nathan, you're getting better at conversation. And then like but it's real trauma. So like next week, get ready to have therapy. It's like, get ready to be vulnerable.
At least for me, the topics we've been talking about have been pretty easy because I have so much trauma with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm always worried on like, oh, what are we going to talk about next week? And then we figure it out. And I'm like, I'm not even going to take notes. I know exactly what I'm going to say because it's just so traumatic. It's so real.
It is so real. And that's why we like to kind of, we call it shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Or break the ice with just like a little bit of banter and catch up because we don't get to see each other as much. We're all three of us now that Chantel's here. We're very busy working. And you just got that new job. And I've been hearing Megan was telling me about like all the shit you're remembering. And that's just, I'm just like in the car when we were picking up Evan from school, she was like, yeah, Zach has to remember like, they have 120 by the glass wines. And I was like, did you say 120?
160 actually.
160 by the glass wines that Zach has to remember. And I was like, she was like, yeah, could you imagine? And I was like, could you imagine becoming one of the greatest bartenders in the world? Because that's what Zach's about to become. Like, that's what you have to do.
Well, I don't necessarily have to have those wines memorized.
That's crazy.
But there is 160 choices that anyone can order at any time, which is pretty wild. But then the real crazy thing is I have to memorize the food. And it's food that's like 5-star food. So it's the small plates with the designs and every single thing has something you have to say about it.
30 different garnishes.
And so when you set it down, you're all like, this is our pamahaza with a hit, with a hut, and that's about it. And then you pour something over it as you're serving it. And then you like enjoy and you walk away. And it's just like this whole thing. And so I have to know how to do everything. It's not just like, oh, Zach, we need you to come memorize all these new drinks and all these new wines and be a bartender at a place you've never worked at. And you need to know the food as well as the chefs know the food. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's so much. It's beyond amount of information.
Yeah. I mean, you keep going higher. You're like, I hate this place I work at.
Yeah.
I need to get out of fine dining. That's why I'm going to
finer dining.
Honestly, and I don't like to use our last name as like, but it's the Blaustone way. It feels like, or I guess Chantel said it before we started. What did you say, Chantel, earlier? That like people like what?
A lot of things.
I know, but like we're the type of people where like, hey, now you have more free time, go enjoy yourself. And it's like, no, we'll find more ways to work.
Yeah.
And fill our time with like, I was saying that I really want to go back to, going to San Francisco more.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about getting like a per diem nursing gig at UCSF. And then I was like, right whenever I think about that, like I want to be back in SF more. I should get like a per diem, which is like, you only have to work like a few shifts a month.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't want to have to work more to go somewhere that I want to be. I should just go there.
To give yourself a reason to go.
I'm going to go to San Francisco and work 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, you could just go to San Francisco.
Yeah. So we have been going back and it's been really nice. I don't have to you don't have to always work more to go do more. It's a tough lesson.
Me and Alex, we want to do a pasta making class in the city on Valentine's Day.
How romantic. Wow, you're actually planning. We're thinking about going up to the snow, which is nice that you can do that here where we live in California. You can be like, I'm going to go to the snow and have a good time rather than be like, get rid of the snow.
Yeah, being in the snow for more than a week drives me nuts. Dude.
Yeah, it's just like people are always like, oh, you get to go to the snow? Yeah, we get to go to the snow by choice.
It really does suck though when you are on your way to the snow and it's like storming and you get stuck on the mountain. You ever had that happen?
I think we've had that happen together.
I don't think we ever actually got stuck. I think we got blocked off and had to take a different route.
There was one time we got stuck, and it's the type of snow where for some reason there's always a semi above you, ahead of you, so you can't even see in front of the semi. But it's just like snow.
Yeah,
and your windshield wipers are just like.
There was one winter where I got a side gig for a weekend to go help the weather people, the people that film the weather,
weather people. Yeah, the weather people
for some TV channel.
Yeah,
and
Cron 4.
It was like $1,200 they give me, and then a $200. What is it?
You were the like night crawler. You were like,
I'm going to hold the cords and run around in the snow.
Yeah, you're the night crawler.
But there's this huge storm coming through, and so I don't know any of these people, and I just knew one guy through the church, and he was like, you can come and we'll make $1,200. And for me at the time, it's like, I mean, even right now, it's like $1,200 for a weekend. Yeah, I'll do it for sure. I need that money so bad, and so I was like, I'm doing it, and showed up, and it was totally out of my element because all the people I didn't know, and we all got in a van. We went to Tahoe, and like the storm starts hitting, and we're going up that hill, and it's dead stop traffic. You can't even see. It's like full storm. We get to the top of the mountain, and then everything stops. No communication, no cell phones, nothing. And hours start to go by, and there's no movement. And so we don't know why we're not moving. But what happened is there was The road behind us got blocked and the road in front of us got blocked. We were stuck on that mountain for 17 hours.
Yeah, it's like, and that's when one of my friends started eating another one of my friends' calves.
Dude, we started losing it. And the sad part of the story is I hadn't pooped for 5 days already.
It's okay, buddy.
No, I know. I was so constipated and I was so stressed and I was downing like granola bars because we had nothing else to eat. And I was around people I've never met.
Packing it up.
And I was just like, I'm so anxious. And we finally, that was a tough, I earned that $1,200, dude.
You were just like cement Quaker oats. Yeah. Just oat cement. Yeah, that sounds stressful.
Yeah.
That's like Donner Pass.
Yeah.
You just
Close
eat
to it.
After a while, you're like, why are we eating each other?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just cold.
Yeah.
We're all losing our minds. No, I like the fact that we get to go to the cold. I don't plan on doing any newscasting up in Tahoe.
You don't need to.
No.
You got that nurse job.
I guess. Yeah. That's true. I mean, you spit facts, dude.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. You're getting these new jobs and I'm like, every day is like, feels like a new job for me. It's like every patient's like a new experience. You're like, and here we go. And here we go. And here we go.
Yeah. But your job so well.
I wish, man. I feel like that's the one thing about being a really good nurse is having confidence and knowing and realizing you don't know anything.
Mm.
You have to know everything at that job, but there's just so much like it only takes one cardiac thoracic surgeon to come in and like they know so much about their one little thing, but that's like what I do is cardiac nursing. And that's always a good reminder of like, I don't know that much, but I do know a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of want to jump into it. I wanted to tell you something else, but should we you want to get into it?
Tell me something else.
So remember I was telling you that I've been getting into making like homemade oat milk?
Yes.
Because the lactose intolerance is pretty severe.
Totally.
And so I get really into these projects. I was making like all the can of oils and, like baked goods and made gummy bears, and that's been a blast.
Yeah.
Peanut butter, right? We make homemade peanut butter.
Obviously.
You've been into
I've been doing that for years, baby.
The daddy butter.
Oh yeah.
And then I started making the daddy drizzle, which is like cookie butter, basically.
Just crack cocaine.
It's so bad. And then
I legit, all the stuff you gave, I stopped eating it because if I start, I eat the whole thing.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm sorry.
And so I've just completely stopped. Alex went through all of it. Of course.
I feel so sad. I'm sorry.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
It's just so much sugar. It's just so much sugar.
It's not like, and as from me too, it's like, I'm not eating it.
Yeah.
I made it. And like I tried one bite.
Yeah.
Like when I first make it.
Well,
and then
you
it's
just
like,
know, it's like, if I keep going, I'm not going to, I get down the whole thing.
It's almost easier to make really sugary, like bad treats. And then, cause you don't eat them, you're like, go children. Yes. Get stomach aches. But yeah, so I've been really into oat milk, and I've been buying like something called sunflower lecithin, which is like what helps bind the liquid together. And so anyways, I've gotten, and then like
you say you're trying to make like
preservatives.
A nice creamy.
Yeah. Like I'm making like every twice a week or every week, potassium sorbate. And that's like, I use like a powdered version of it, and just like a little bit of that goes in, and it's, it's a
makes it last a lot longer.
Like 5 days. Keep it in the fridge so you can have like a week and a half.
It adds an extra like 5 days to it. I got you.
Yeah,
because normally it's like after a week, the oat milk's pretty bad.
Oat milk normally is 3 to 5 days fresh. And then if you add a little, maybe like a week and a half, which is, we go through so much oat milk.
Yeah, I'll try that the next time we make it.
So that's like my point, because I've gotten into that. So then I've gotten into rice milk.
Ooh.
And so and I've gotten really into rice milk. So now in the fridge, we have like 5 different versions of milk. So I have like plain oat milk, vanilla oat milk, plain rice milk, vanilla rice milk. And so sometimes in my coffees, I'll have like rice milk, oat milk. And I was like realizing that, like the stereotypical norms or roles that like, hey, where's dad? Oh, he's in the garage doing one of his projects again. Oh, he's fixing the car.
Yeah.
And it's like dad gets home from work, or the guy gets home from work and he goes straight out to the yard.
Yeah.
Always got to be fixing something. Well, I've always found myself doing that because I love having my projects. Like I just love building something or fixing something or trying to do something like that. But the kitchen has fulfilled like a lot of that role for me, which seems to flip the whole narrative, right? Of like, I get home from like the hospital, hop on the bike, get a workout. And then some days I'll be like, and now I'm going into that kitchen and I'm making homemade hummus oat milk and rice milk. It's like, and they're like projects, and I'm soaking them in the bags.
Well, the milks, and they are huge projects.
They're so fun, man. Like I find so much, and Megan will just be there at the counter, like doing work, and I'm just there like draining nut bags. Like she's like, wow, so pretty. I can tell it's getting better. And it's like every time I was like, you know what, not a good batch, but next week we'll try again. So like now I did like hummus. And so I'm making peanut butter. I'm making cashew butter. I'm making oat milk, rice milk, hummus. And I'm doing these things like once every week. You
got to keep adding stuff. And sooner or later you'll be making all your own food.
Well, I mean, we bought all the seeds for our garden. We bought like, I think 10 different variety vegetables. We're going to grow watermelon, corn this year in the back. I'm really excited, man.
Yeah.
Gonna be,
I'm excited for that corn. That corn's gonna be so good.
It just helps me a lot with my daily needs. You know, like I need to do something. Like I need to have purpose. And for some reason, like gardening is the most mind hack way to be like, I have purpose.
Well, you know, there's a study that came out that is kind of proving that ADHD people force like projects consistently in their life, and it causes them more stress. But you have to always be doing something because your ADHD is consistently thinking.
What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know?
But it's like, who would have thought? Me? And that's what I was just saying, right? Like there's always a way to add more work. But I think like there's certain things like gardening to me doesn't feel like work. Like if it's more of like learning a language. I don't know. It's like,
well, once you get the garden going, I feel like the work is building the garden.
But right. And so like last year was like a lot of learning and listening
and a lot of work.
And like
you build your garden,
a lot of building it. And then, but like you don't really need to build anything. You could just work up some soil. And if you knew what you were doing and how to add like the right nutrients, and it's all about compost and rich soiled manure. And like, there's like, it's a pretty simple, process once you really learn how to listen to your garden and specifically to the climate of your area. And like, and so it's more of like, it's a lot of work, but I'm excited because there's something about every day coming home and walking in the garden. And it was funny is now that we've been doing this cast long enough that like, I even remember like bringing all the bowls out and maybe even right here. See that? Look at that. And then we got beets. The beets aren't that great because I did companion planting. Big old carrots.
Those look like kind of small carrots.
Well, I mean, they're big for the garden. I mean, like a lot of the ones came out like this big.
You probably would need a bunch deeper.
Look at these like tiny little pinky toes. You want to bite?
No, I'm chilling. Nothing like a raw.
There's nothing like a fresh carrot. Not kidding.
Damn it.
Also, I let the tomato plants go for a really long time and they were dying. So these were the remaining tomatoes. They're little green, little jelly beans. A lot of them.
You should just down one right
Peppers.
now.
No, man. These need to, we're hoping that they ripen because you can do counter ripen. Some people like chop the tomatoes right when they're like fully grown green and then they
let them ripen.
Which we did that a bunch this year. Season. Losing these guys. Not bad. One with the show. We got jalapenos.
Jalapeno. You'll show some food.
Thank you to what's his name? Who does the snaps?
Rick Glassman.
Thank you, Rick Glassman. Again, I have to stop doing the snap. I don't want to keep taking that from him. I'm not taking it, but shouts out to you. But
yeah,
I'm gonna add that scene there to show all the veggies to remind people.
I think he moved. I just watched his most recent episode and it's in a completely different building.
Really?
Yeah.
He's getting better.
Well, it looks like he got a really nice apartment on top of some building there in LA. So he's obviously doing well.
Rick Glassman. We love Rick Glassman.
I love, dude, how many people we've watched kind of like come up since the pandemic. Like really like have their careers.
It was prime time.
Yeah.
Prime time for the pod.
Yeah. But we should get into it.
Needed to get that off my chest. Well, it sounds like things are going pretty well. I mean, you got the new job. I got the new oat milk. We're good.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's all I need in my life.
Forget the parenting. Forget all the other things.
Yeah. Put the 2 weeks in at my other job.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know. You didn't.
Did it on Friday.
It's funny is you didn't even text me about it. That's a good sign. You know, like.
Oh, dude, I've been so busy.
It's a good sign, man. If you're not texting me about, it's like, oh no, that's how you know he's positive.
I worked 10-hour shifts Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, all day yesterday, I had to prepare the house for Alex's birthday dinner for her mom. And so we had their family over and then I'm here. And so it's legit been nonstop. And so I really haven't even had a thought, but I knew I was going to see you today. And I wanted actually just to tell you on the podcast so that you could get that initial reaction. That I put my 2 weeks in at my job.
I know. And I want to give you a better reaction. This is the reaction I'm going to give you is, congratulations to all of us. To all of us.
Love it.
Yeah. Congratulations to me. Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
We are all going to benefit from Zach's new job. All right. Let's get into it. This is 3 out of our 5-part series of trying to do our best to be a little more organized, a little more focused around our own personal trauma. And here on Those Boys, as we are...
The first segment we talked about was prayer.
Talking about prayer.
And then last week we talked about worship. And today we're going to be talking about the rapture.
The rapture. And specifically, the rapture is the end times, right? It's when rapture,
Jesus comes back to earth and raptures, as in takes up all the Christians from the earth who disappear and get taken up into heaven while all the sinners are left here on earth.
Or like non-believers.
Non-believers.
Because we're all sinners, right?
All sinners.
At least according to the Calvary Chapel Christian
Bible
faith. We've talked about the rapture before. We've said a couple stories about our dad, and we talked about the Left Behind series and how the clothes were always folded, right? So we've brought up this stuff before, but like trying to be more pinpointed and focused around this idea of going to heaven when Jesus returns is quite, actually really thinking about being born into a family and into a culture that I really didn't know anything different besides the fact that when I died, whether it be by old age, cancer, a gunshot, which there's always a lot of maybe I'll die by gunshot because
I always thought
the way of the Lord.
Yeah.
At least I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
That's where it played in my head was so whether it was death or the rapture or the end times, like when Jesus comes back, so at least I know where I'm going to go.
As a child, did you have any fear for not being taken up with the rapture?
I did not.
Were you settled? Were you like, no, I'm a Christian, I'm going up?
Even when we're editing these things, when when we edit them, I'm realizing that I say things that I already am learning through our conversations that aren't actually, I do fear these things. So I do have a lot more trauma than I thought I did. Yeah. And so when I try to look back, I wasn't really scared of the end times. But I mean, the book of Revelation was scary as shit. Like dinosaurs, I don't know, like dragons and fire and and all of that. And, but I think the isolation that I felt from this idea of oh no, if I'm not a Christian, I won't go to heaven. I thought about that when I was 14, 15, when I was really toying with the idea of not being a Christian anymore. It was well, what happens if Jesus comes back? Will I still go to heaven? And it's well, you probably won't, Nathan. And it's by that age, I was well, heaven's just gold roads.
Yeah.
I don't want to just live in a gold place.
People worship 24 hours
there's
a day.
Horns. I don't want to live there.
So bright all the time.
I was that's how I was thinking. I don't want to live somewhere like that. What about video games? They don't have Halo.
Yeah.
I want to get them triple kills.
Yeah. Triple kill.
Yeah, triple kill. Dad, can I have a Halo in heaven? You know what? I think God will give you anything that he feels you need. Probably not Halo then. But and so I wasn't afraid, I guess, of that type of stuff. It was more of I when I was really thinking about this over the last week of the things that the end times and 7th grade, 8th grade, or the years that really stick out to me as being going back to public school, having my Bible in my backpack, being president of the Christian club. And these were the thoughts that would come up a lot is forgive them, Lord. They do not know what they don't know what they do. What Jesus would say on the cross, I would think that they get made fun of or whatever. And there was almost this, I had this awareness that it was okay, the trauma or the abuse, the kids or making fun of me, whatever that was made up in my head because of being a Christian, it was okay because I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And so when I was really thinking about how that felt, trying to make friends, I knew I was the weird kid, and I was okay being the weird kid because I knew where I was going when I died or when the rapture came. And I just wanted to try to save as many people as I could to come with me. And And so I was more scared for them. I was like, but what about all these people that are going to suffer on earth? So that was like my fear. It wasn't really about me. I know where I'm going. So like already I'm isolating myself outside of people. Like these people, don't forgive them. They don't know what they do because I know I'm going to be in heaven. Maybe I can save them. So this whole idea of death and the rapture was like always at the forefront of my mind since I was born. I never haven't not thought about it.
Not being raptured.
I never really feared that idea. It was more of the Jesus complex, like savior complex. This is why I'm here, because I know where I'm going.
But you just feared for other people.
I feared for other people. And there was sort of like, is like all of when I'm thinking about, you know, we talked about prayer, worship, and then now the rapture and this, like the idea of the end times and like, so isolation and like shame. It was like, I felt like it was like weird to be the one that goes to heaven. And I was like born in the family that had the secret code to get there. But there was all these, like most of the kids I went to school with weren't going to heaven.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was best friends with my, you know, like best friends with the kid that went to church with me. We went to school together. And even he was like super embarrassed by me. But like, that's the way I thought, was like, but we're going to heaven. Remember, this is like, we have the special sauce, man. We know we have the special sauce.
But a lot of people that we went to church with didn't think of it that way, it seems like.
Yeah. You don't think so?
Well, it seems like they were just more a part of church and part of youth group. Whereas we were the pastor's kids, really a part of church and going 5 times a week instead of just once.
Well, what about you?
And what do you mean?
I mean, like initially that's just kind of, there's like a lot that I could, sadly that car that started outside like distracted me. But I mean, like I got a lot off. Like that was my initial thought when I'm thinking about
the rapture.
Yeah. Just that like, I wasn't really scared. You know, when I walked away from the faith, I was playing with the like toying with the idea that like, oh, even when the rapture comes, because it took me many years to like
let go of that idea,
let go of a lot of ideas, but that like, hey, if I'm not a Christian anymore, and if the rapture comes and it's real, party on. Like that was like the mentality I lived after.
I don't know if I ever would think to party. My thought was, if it was real, then we know the Bible's real. So if we actually got to that point where if I wasn't raptured, I'd at least know what to do then at that point, because I've been trained on it for so long. Whereas so many other people would just fall into the mayhem of the end of the world and the end times. But yeah, I never thought to like, then I'm just going to go sin like crazy.
And I think, talk about drama. That's like one of the ways when I remember like risk taking. I mean, a lot of my like trying not to take as much risk in life has been, now it's like much less risk taking than I used to.
Yeah.
But a lot of the thinking in the past, the rage mentality was kind of like, but does it really matter? Because if the rapture is real, I ain't going, and it's all like whatever. And if it isn't real, then like it doesn't matter. Right? It's like always like this train of like, what really matters then, right? It was like, because there's so much about death as a kid. There's so much about end times. Like, but you know where you're going. Yeah. But what about everyone else that doesn't get to go? This is oppressive.
Yeah.
Like, why me, not them? Like, why did I get this? And how is it so easy that I'm able just to say, I don't believe in this anymore? And then that's it.
Yeah.
There it goes. Lost your golden ticket to the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. And it just took me many years to realize that nobody knows anything that happens to you after you die. Nobody.
Not one person. Because they're all dead.
Like that idea was like, no, they know. It's like, no, nobody knows what happens after you die. No, listen, I was told my entire life where you're right. It's like, that's right. Nobody knows. I have to keep reminding myself. And the healing that's happening now in my life, I feel like is just when I really feel present in myself, in my own healing. It's like, this is like really what I sometimes feel. And it's beautiful. It's like, I might be on a run. I might be out in the forest. And it's like, I get this moment and I see like a stream. My headphones are in and I'm just in it. And I see the stream and all of a sudden I'm like, if I wasn't here, the stream would still be moving. But every time every moment that goes by, it's new water. But the stream is always here, whether I'm here or not. I am the stream. The stream is me. And I have this moment of oneness.
Like connection.
Just with like people might call it deja vu. We call it synchronicity, whatever it is. There's this feeling of being like really present and being happy and being like, I am just a part of this.
Yeah.
I'm just a part of every step I take has an effect on the trail. That's why trails matter. We must stay on the trails because every foot really impacts force onto like stuff that doesn't deserve that doesn't have human foot. No. It was more of just like my place in the world. Not like when I die, I'm going to heaven. It's more of like, I am the river. I am one with heaven, hell, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's the healing I'm having in my life. I've been striving for is like true oneness. And that's so close to what we were raised in, like being one with God. It's a relationship. The Holy Spirit moves through you. Like this really connection, because of Jesus dying on the cross for your sins, that you too can enter the kingdom of God. It's a river running through you, Nathan. It's a river running through you. It's a river running through you. And I'm like, man, it's like, I've had these experiences as a kid where it was so hard to think outside of that. And then I broke out of it. And now I'm like, it is a river running through me. No, I am the river. I am the river. I must move like water because I am water. Like, it's like, it's like that real, it's almost cringy, goofy when you really get into like all of it. But it's like that oneness to me has been a lot of my healing. And that's been combating a lot of that like childhood upbringing of a pretty oppressive black and white. You're going to heaven because Jesus died on the cross for your sins and you accept that. And anybody that doesn't, bummer.
Yeah.
They're going to burn for eternity.
Yeah.
In the most suffering. It's like, everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it would feel like.
Yeah.
So I have to save everybody. I have to be a nurse. If I'm not going to be a Christian, I got to be a nurse so I can save lives because they're going to die into, I don't know. Nobody knows where they go.
Yeah.
But that's when I like, oh, that's why I'm a nurse.
Gotcha.
Not, I don't know. So. Shabam.
It's deep.
But what about you? I mean, you want to ask me any questions on that, or can I ask you a question?
Yeah, you can ask me a question.
I mean, were you scared of like the rapture happening and you being left behind?
Oh, every second of my life I was.
So you've said this before, and that's where I think like it's wild how much it's different for us, right? Like
I was for sure that the rapture was going to happen when I was alone. Every time I was alone, I was for sure this was going to be the hour it's going to happen, and I'm not going to see my parents anymore, and they're not going to come home, and I'm going to have to find out that they're just gone, and now I'm on this world alone. I had that fear well until I like 16, 17, where I stopped even thinking about the rapture really. But really, like my younger years, I was very afraid of the rapture.
With that thought, like that, as a kid, do you remember like thinking about me and Natalie? Like, were we just in heaven with them?
I never really,
or was the anxiety around mom and dad?
It was always around mom and dad,
specifically
mom and dad.
So it's like, I wonder, like it was hard for you to even have the thought, like, oh, if you were left behind and I was there too, like.
Well, I mean, when I was having those thoughts, it's not like you or Natalie walked away.
It was young.
Yeah, it was young. And it wasn't until I was 15 that you really openly walked away the way you did. So I never thought of you not going to heaven. I just never thought I deserved it for some reason. If I was going to be a Christian, I didn't think I was good enough. And my thoughts were always so evil, and Jesus would never accept me into heaven, or God would never accept me into heaven. I don't know why I couldn't get over that, because really I was living a perfect Christian life and believing everything fully, and I would totally go to heaven if the rapture happened in that time. But I couldn't let go of the idea that I wouldn't be accepted.
Which that sounds like shame.
A lot of shame. Yeah.
I was to just like build on that idea of shame versus like guilt. I was talking with my therapist and asked him a specific question about, something I was feeling. Like I just feel so guilty. And now what I've done is going to make so-and-so feel this way.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. Now that sounds like shame. And I was like, have I just been like masking my shame for guilt, saying everything's guilt? Oh, I'm just guilt ridden. There's so much guilt. And it's like, he was like, guilt is like a natural instinct that like gets you back on track. Or shame is something that like is like a wall. And I was like so hearing you say that is like, I think I have a lot of shame too around, that's why I would act out aggressively. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm of the devil.
Yeah.
I'm evil. It's like, let's just go for it then.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Well, I mean, what else? A kid leaving the church, leaving Christianity, the religion you believed that you had to believe to have eternity in heaven. And you chose a life that's not going to be of that. Like, that alone causes enough fear and anxiety in itself. It's like, how do you come out of that without thinking, well, none of this matters anymore. I'm not going to heaven. I'm going to hit this wall and shatter my hand and be drunk all the time and just party because I was only told this is all that's left is a life of the world. So doing the wrong things doesn't really, like, what else are you going to do? Just do the wrong things. Yeah. And I think it influences you to do like things that are out of your character, because why not just try everything, you know? Whereas reality, if you could just feel almost accepted in the world when you left that religion, maybe you wouldn't have made choices A through F because you were trying to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm saying that reflecting on myself,
right?
Not just telling you.
Well, I mean, when you're reflecting on yourself, I'm like, is he talking to me? Because it's very, I think that there's a lot of similarities, but I just think that what's interesting is as kids, the way that this looked as kids, you being the youngest, me being the middle, and Natalie being the oldest, is you looked, I would imagine you like saw, I mean, I know that you just watched my life and how things happened with mom and dad, and you saw like I was aggressive. I'd go out and I'd like say what I meant or how I felt, and I'd sneak out and get in trouble. And so like,
I was always really jealous of how you could just live your life and without thinking you're fucking it up. I was so worried about sinning and fucking up my life forever. And you were just like 15 hit and you were like, dude, I want to live life to the fullest. And it was I was so jealous of that. I wanted to live that full.
Yeah. And it's funny that like that mentality has gotten me into some serious pickles, right? Like literally. And I have an 11-and-a-half-year-old. And so there's something to be said being able to like watch and then be like, maybe he's really living his life. Maybe I won't do it that way though. I felt like you did that a lot. You were like, no, dude, you would say that. I'm not going to do that. That's what you did. And then you got busted. I'd be like, well, yeah, he's not wrong.
When it comes to mom and dad, I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot of what not to do. But when it comes to life, I actually looked up to you on how I'm supposed to be human a lot. And you had a huge influence on my young 20s on what it means to be a real like working man in this society.
Wow. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, it wasn't good things.
It's all bad. It's all really bad too. Yeah. Bad. That's why I'm saying thank you, because I appreciate that. I want you to do bad things. When you're a pastor's kid, you got to do the bad things to break out. No, just kidding. You don't. You do not have to. One of the jokes as a pastor's kids growing up, just out of left field here, was you go to a church because you're with the family and you're on tour. Because as a pastor's kid, you go with your pastor family to different churches to do worship or teach a study or whatever. And you show up and you're getting a cup of hot chocolate there, and you don't know anybody at the church, but you're so used to not knowing anybody, and you're the pastor's kid. So someone comes up and they're like, and who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm Pastor so-and-so's son. Oh, you must just be a rotten little scoundrel then. That was always like such a nut. Like someone would be like, oh, you're a pastor's kid? Oh, you're the worst, aren't you? You're one of the worst. That was always told to me. It was like pastors' kids were always, you never told that?
I mean, I was told that after out of the church, but being in the church, being a pastor's kid was your badge of, I know so much about this religion and you're here working and I've been working. It's like, this is my church too. I'm of the Christianity realm since birth.
Right. No, yeah, that's like you're talking about dad.
Like, so like in the church, people would be like, "Oh, you're Pastor Chris's son? Oh my gosh!" It's like almost like I am on this pedestal. Whereas now it's, "Oh, you're a pastor's kid that walked away. You probably party really hard." It's like, I did for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I feel like whether it was out of the church or in the church, I was told that so much. Oh, you're the pastor's kid, and it was because as I got older, I started to learn. Like I would meet pastors and their kids wouldn't be there because they'd be grown up and in jail. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, all the pastors' kids are in prison. Yeah. They're all like, they murdered somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was always very familiar with like, I wonder which one I'll be.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to me? What happens to pastors' kids?
I don't think I ever put that together. That anytime, most pastors' kids were
pretty rotten. Sadly, really hurt.
Yeah.
And did some horrible things and ended up like, I mean, most pastors' kids I met weren't not doing great, which if you're watching this as a pastor's kid, we're not saying that as like a general, we're generalizing, but in my experience, I was told that, oh, you're one of them.
Well, I know a handful.
How are you doing so good?
I'll talk on top of that. And I know a handful of pastor's kids that we grew up with that are living wonderful lives now.
Yeah.
So it's not every pastor's kid, but it does seem to be, looking back on it, that there might have been some trauma that put these kids in places they shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Like
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I could have made some different choices for my life coming out of the church that would have been very destructive.
Yeah. I mean, like there's plenty of times I should have been arrested.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. But, and I was, and I just got so lucky based off privilege in this institution that we like to call the white Christian church. Yeah. Call it luck. I don't know, man. But
and there's a lot of privilege.
Yeah. So shame. I think like
I like that you brought that up. I haven't really. That's still hard for me to differentiate guilt and shame.
Welcome.
They feel very similar.
Yeah. I got mind blown. Not talking about your song.
Yeah.
But my therapist blew my mind.
Yeah.
When he was like, oh, no, Nathan, you see, your guilt is an instinctual thing. Think about it. Guilt's going to keep you in check. Like, don't do that again. So you won't do it again because of the guilt you feel.
Mm.
He was like, but shame, now that's a wall.
Mm.
I was like,
so it's a shame of your upbringing or a shame of your trauma?
Like you said, like it's I'm never good enough.
Yeah.
That's personal shame. I'm not worth it.
Mm.
It's oppressive religion. It's being born in a culture and an institution that says if you denounce Christ, you won't go to heaven.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you go, I'm just never good enough.
Yeah.
So I have to be the best or else I'm not going to heaven, which means if you're not the best, no one's perfect. So you're being told, no, Jesus is perfect. But that's the example. So it's like a lot of this religion, a lot of this Christian faith and like what we're talking about is a perfect recipe for childhood shame.
Yeah.
To last. And then like I've masked it as guilt because I think like it.
Well, I think a lot of people mask it as guilt.
It's like, it's like, oh, I feel so guilty. And it's like, so then deal with the guilt so that you can recognize the shame.
Well, no, I think it's more shame. At least now that I've always thought of it as a guilt feeling. Never thought of it as shame, but it feels way more shameful than it feels guilt.
Mm.
And the guilt, like I don't feel guilty really anymore.
Yeah.
But I do feel quite a bit of shame.
Yeah. I think maybe do you feel like when you and Alex get in tiffs or maybe like the areas you're working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a therapist. And it's like me and Megan have a therapist. Like it's what's wonderful about my relationship. And I'm just going to I'm assuming I don't want to speak for you, but like there's some similarities that like if there's a relationship that you get to see your true colors in consistently and hopefully the partner is able to sit there and like see the growth and work with you on it. And you're able to look at each other's true colors and be like, this hurts. This isn't going to work. Let's figure this out. Is like in my relationship, what happens is I know like what I need to work on and she knows what I'm working on. And she goes, you've worked on it so much. I'm seeing this is a person I'm with that's growth.
Mm.
That's what I want. She tells me that affirmation. And then something happens and I freak out or I yell or like anger, right? It's like, no, I just told you. And then whatever, something immediately I feel guilty.
Mm.
Before there's any resolution. It's like, cause I know.
Yeah.
But I think actually what I'm feeling is shame almost instantly.
Mm.
I think it's like, great. You know what? Already she's pissed off because I'm an angry person and she just is going to shut her down and I'm never good enough. I'm never good enough because if I make one mistake, it's over.
Mm.
Already it's like, dude, you fucked up.
Yeah.
And you're already cancel culturing everything in your life and it's over. Not because you're guilty. If you're guilty, you're going to want to fix it. It's because like, why do I cancel everything? You know what? Fine. Screw this. You know what? If you're not going to give me a chance to make a mistake, then you don't even care about me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you want to burn the house down? Feeling a little personal shame. That's shame, right? So when I tell that to my therapist, he was like, Nathan, that's shame. And I would imagine you've had a lot of shame a lot of your life. And then he was like, most religious trauma people, that deal with religious trauma have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Have you heard this term? And I went, ding, 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 ding. It's like, you said it, CPTSD, coming to you live from those boys.
We defined it and talked about it.
The funny thing about this podcast, therapist, is I'm learning too.
Yeah.
And it was like, he affirmed that. So I think isolation is something that is like a term that's what I felt. I felt really isolated from everybody.
Oh, 100%.
At school.
Oh, especially people that weren't a part of your church.
Because they're not going to go to heaven. No. If Jesus comes now.
No, they have no hope.
Right.
There's no hope for them.
So I'm already set apart, which means how do you deal with that? So it sounds like for you, and we saw this in the way we lived our lives, right? Like mine was, I need to save the world.
Yeah.
Yours was, I'm not ever good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. And you're like trying to figure out this life by never being good enough.
Yeah.
So there was like, I don't know, like you could, that's just like shame and isolation. I think those are the two that I'm hearing from us is like, and mind you, what we're talking about is death.
Dude, I remember
it's a pretty big deal.
You mentioning that, like when for your first years in school, the feeling of other people. Like that feeling alone is so
of what
such a huge, when I think of what was traumatizing, it was just being anything that wasn't of the church, because we were so immersed in it for so long that when I first went to school, 5th grade, being around other sinners that have not been forgiven and that will never be forgiven because their parents aren't raising them the way my parents are. And I can't just change them, It's like, I can talk to Jesus about them, but that's not going to save them. Look at their lives they're living, the things they talk about and the thoughts they have, like so many things that these
and that's what you would
alien beings, that's what it felt like. It felt like different alien beings
so
I was around.
You would look at others.
Yeah.
When you like done with homeschool, public school, and you were like, none of these people have hope.
No.
I better get it right.
Yeah.
Mine was, I have so much hope for all of you.
Because you're going to save them.
Believe me, you barely have to do anything and you too can have the kingdom of heaven. Come to Christian Club. Like that's our difference, I think, right?
Yeah.
Mine was literally like, I had so much hope for people that's where I feel like it's a superpower for me. Like a lot of my way of dealing with like that savior complex was traumatic and very destructive, but like I am happy with how I've like subconsciously and like morphed that sort of need of codependency to like not save others, but just like how it's turned into what I do now for a living is like wonderful because I really feel a lot of purpose in my job and with it. And but like that's as a kid, there was the savior complex, which was like, all of you could go to heaven. Yours was like, y'all are hopeless. Sucks to suck. I'm really going.
No, but then I also didn't think I was going to heaven either. I didn't think I even wasn't good enough.
Do you think those play a role? Because like for me, I wasn't afraid of going to heaven. I knew I was going to heaven. I was good. I knew all of you could go to heaven. I was like, it's weird because you were like, none of you are going to heaven and I'm probably not even going to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of you should go, but you're probably going to go. Like I just assumed people could make it.
Yeah.
Because it made sense to me. I
assumed I had a more complicated idea and that when we actually got to heaven, God would be like, Zach, you could have lived your life a little. I think I had this weird, like unconscious feeling of that. Like I was a little too extreme with my family and because no one else is taking this seriously as we do is what it felt like. But then, looking back at it now, it's just wild to think about.
God looks at you and goes, you know what, Zach? You could have done a little bit more. What's funny is that, like, don't you think when you meet God now, which is yourself, right? I don't want to speak at you, but like when you really are in that oneness and you're doing things and you break down your walls and you've been so scared, but then you're in that whatever choices you've had to break those walls down. And then you're like, you talk to yourself, which is the God, right, of yourself. And you're like, you see, Zach, you're living your life a little bit now. Doesn't it feel good? It's like, that's like the difference, right? Is you are God. You have the power to create the life you want here and now.
Yeah.
The heaven is here and now. Make it what you better, like make it what you want it to be every day.
Yeah.
Is like, not like you get to choose to feel great, but this is what it is. So buckle up.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a fun time. Who used to say, I'm here for a great time? That was Anthony Bourdain. And then RIP, rest in peace. Talk about mental health and trauma.
Yeah.
He had committed suicide. But
Did he commit suicide?
Yeah. But sometimes I felt that a lot. Life's a risk, so take them. But it's like, the biggest risk is not building friendships and community and truly people that love one another to get through this life together.
Yeah.
Because without people and like that type of support, then life really does feel risky.
Yeah.
Especially in the church, man. It's like, God, if I get one thing wrong, I'm out. So this is risky business. Man, if I look at, porn, I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to go to hell. But like, trying to just deal with like normal things. Oh man, if I like look at this girl the wrong way, or if I think this wrong thought about this guy, I must be a sinner and I'm going to go to hell.
Dude, you know what I hated was the message is all you have to do is believe and you'll be saved. That was the message we would tell people all the time. Oh, it's so simple. All you have to do is believe this and say this prayer and believe it and you'll be saved. When the reality is all you have to do is do this one thing and then live this perfect life. Because if you did anything sinful now after this, you're going to know it. And we're going to all tell you. And if you don't change that behavior, then it's going to pull you away from God and you're no longer going to be saved. That doesn't really feel very safe or saved.
That might just be also a major component of mine in your upbringing.
Yeah, maybe.
Having a pastor as a father is the church.
Yeah.
So sometimes the church comes to you during normal parenting times.
Yeah.
It's like, is this you or the church talking? Yeah. Mostly the church. Which this feels like a really good segue. I know that you, if you're listening, thank you for listening.
Yes.
That was a little breakdown of the trauma of the rapture, the end of the world. One of the things that I wanted to finish on by just saying is I have been having just wonderfully beautiful psychedelic therapy and integrative work lately. And I know I don't want to speak out of hand for anybody, but just in my own very guided and healing, holistic approach to medicine after being on antidepressants, Adderall for ADHD, and then being an avid cannabis user, talking about end times and talking about what happens next and talking about my purpose here and now and all of these things. Gotta be honest, this psychedelic integrative therapy has been making me feel so much more whole and a part of it all.
Yeah.
And so when I feel like nothing matters, like when I have that thought, which I've had a lot of my life coming out of the church, and then tricking myself into being like, you're a rock star. It's like when I get that thought, like nothing really matters. So fuck it. What comes next is why everything matters.
Yeah.
And I feel like a oneness. And so for me personally, I've read a lot in the religious trauma form of other people, I'm really excited for that research and more of that science and more just to keep talking about it on this cast. And just learning together about how a lot of what we're talking about, I feel like I am starting to understand more of my own life, what it feels like to be at peace with these things, that I have never really dealt with.
Totally.
So that's where I've been at. It's been pretty great.
Oh yeah. No, I'm stoked on specifically psilocybin and the effects of it for ourselves, but also I think the huge change in mental medicine in the next 5 to 10 years because of the allowance of LSD and psilocybin into therapy, I think is going to be
DMT.
And DMT now is going to really help a lot of people and hopefully start to shift our society into a more loving society is like kind of way I look at it, because I fully agree. The more I've been microdosing on a very regular basis, the more my fear of death is becoming so much more minute. I never really had much of a fear of death growing up, just because we always knew we were going to go to heaven is what it felt like. At least if I died, not the rapture, but if I died. But with microdosing, like you said, I'm so much more accepting of I am one. with everything, instead of just saying it and being like, I think I believe that, but being like, no, dude, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here.
It's like a wokeness.
Yeah.
It's like an awareness.
And it's like, I'm not really questioning it anymore. I'm pretty certain that we're all connected and everything's connected. And the synchronicity that keeps happening, I think, is manifestation. Like, I'm starting to really feel it and believe it. And I think it's from microdosing.
Like, you're creating the world you want, man. You 100%. Are God. We are all of the spirit. And all of this sounds so religious, but honestly, it's like when you start to integrate real work,
it's spiritual.
Really listen, and you like practice spiritual healing, meditation, body posture, healthy eating, exercise.
Something you touched on this last podcast, and I only know this because I was doing the shorts before I came here, but you were differentiating religion versus spirituality, and how our Father influenced us in a very positive way on spirituality, and how that's something that's going to stick with us the rest of our lives, is the positivity of being raised so spiritual.
Superpower.
Yeah.
It's a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
You've always said that, this trauma that we're talking about is our superpower. And then it's like, the trauma is not it's all of us have trauma. It's the fact that we are able to heal that feels like mysticism. When you really heal, and you feel peace, and you feel that oneness or whatever, it's like, my powers are getting stronger. And it's almost like, it just makes it a little bit easier. It makes a little more sense. And every day is a new day. We shall seize it, because it's like nothing changes. But I do feel innocent for the first time. Some days I do feel like this might be the first time. Like, man, I've been hurting a lot from this, but today I feel like I hurt the first time. And that's a good memory of being like, oh, this really hurts then.
Yeah.
So I got to deal with this, man.
Yeah.
After 1,000 times, you're so used to that, so it's like, it helps remind you of what really matters. It's like, oh, I really matter, and I'm God. We're all God. We need to just let it go. Just nothing matters, which is why I got to do this.
Well, and we're actually pretty powerful as humans. That's something I'm starting to really accept a lot more too, is we do have the power to make our lives better. Better as in, you can be happy. You just have to do the work.
And you hopefully have a support system.
Yeah. But you can also build your own support system. That's the thing. I mean, if you're privileged to have enough resources to build that support. I'm not trying to speak for everybody. I'm trying to speak for myself I do have the privilege to make the happiest life for myself. I just have to build it. And if I put that effort in and I consistently work on it, at some point I will, I think, achieve the happiness I've always strived for.
Absolutely. Yeah. It does take a lot of work. And I think that, just to add to that, it's, I will say, with my extreme abandonment issues, I feel so lucky to have met somebody that took me a while to really trust, but I think, or I know for a fact, sees me for me and goes, oh, I love that. And I'm like, oh, all of it? And they're like, not all of it, but I know you, I know what you're about. And I know and so I'm all in.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're not going to bail? Not yet. It's I feel, exactly. I just feel really lucky to have support and to have met, that's why, we were raised in monogamy and mom and dad who just loved each other. And I feel I will say that for me, in my personal experience and my abandonment issues, I've been able to deal with a lot of my trauma after, really doing the work, the hard work and dedication and listening necessary over the last few years to maintain a very strong and healthy and seriously productive romantic relationship, best friendship, and partnership with my fiance. And that's, but yeah, so that's I think that's about all I got for you today.
Sweet. That's great.
I know that you wanted to, wrapping this up, you wanted to do the Gen Z.
We'll do it next time. We still got to do the
We're going to do the Gen Z slang words and try to finish that off, how many parts do we have on that? Why don't we just do it
next time?
We'll do it next time, but...
Yeah. We have parts so different. You see the parts as they are on YouTube, and YouTube is
that's right.
the
You told me
shortest.
Yeah, I got you.
And so the most parts go on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, whereas on TikTok it's just 4.
It's okay. I'm already bored. But Let's go on over to the
Game
cam. And if you're listening to the music in the background, because you have to, because it's in the background right now, it's because it's some of my game tracks that I'm writing for the cast.
Yes.
And I think we're getting to the point here where we're going to start putting together a little album.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I was thinking that around spring cleaning, there should be some spring cleaning. Meaning like clean up the game tracks, put them in an album and release them.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this spring will be a good time to release our first game track album.
Totally.
And today on the game track, we are playing
Speed 2.0, baby.
Speed 2.0.
I don't remember which episode we played this on.
Do you remember who won?
I won.
Did you win?
I won by a card.
There's a part of me that doesn't really want to clip back to this one because I already clipped back on another episode. This episode.
I mean, if you want to clip back and show how I just continuously smash you at everything,
we'll see.
That'd be great.
If there's a clip here, great. If not, it depends if I'm up to editing that in.
Okay.
And you got what, 4? You got 4?
He's got 3 cards. I got 4.
Hold on, wait. Ready, set, go. What? Oh no.
3 on 3, baby. 3 on 3. Go.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Okay.
Ready? Set,
Go.
Go. Speed.
Oh! No! What? This is 7.
Oh, I'm so sorry for everybody back home who just turned off the cast. Come back. Do not listen to him. He's just an energetic winner. He's very competitive.
Because on episode 11, remember what you did?
I have no memory of that. I love that. Oh. Let me just scoot on over here and get prepared because I do not want to lose.
Dude, I've gotten so used to watching our podcast and editing it that every time we do it now where there's no music in the background, I'm like, oh, it's so raw and so different. Because we just sit here and play a game, whereas every time I'm watching it, it's like... Yeah, it
depends on the song. Like, some might be like...
Sometimes, dude, I wonder if you're choosing... If you're like, oh, I know, I played this game, so I know how it ends and the emotion behind it, and so you always put a song that seems to relate
so weird.
to it.
No, I do not. I just...
Because sometimes the grungier, harder games or whatever...
Is when I win?
Is when it's like... And then like the happy fun ones, it's like different energy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you can tell. I know. No, I'm just pulling out tracks, man. I have hundreds of tracks that I'm just going to pull out and try to fix up. Mind you, over 80% of the songs I open up on live don't open up because they were made 8 years ago. I've lost so many songs.
Oh, dude, I've lost hundreds of songs.
And I'm learning every episode now. I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to open?
Yeah.
It's going to open? And there's songs like...
Dude, you know what I was thinking about?
What?
Is me speaking on how I might want to start like performing live for Signs. I can't go back to any of my music from the end of Satire and open up those projects and take my vocals out to perform them. So the only way I can perform music from a certain time back would be singing over the actual song. That's it. There's nothing else I can do. For a lot of like all of Bedrock, my first album, I can't get the vocals out because I never made instrumental tracks.
Yeah, that's scary.
It hurts.
It's scary. All right. We are currently at 66 minutes and we are about to start Speed 2.0. Zach won the last time. We're going to see who wins this time.
4 cards?
Is it 5 or 4?
4. You can only hope.
It's 5, right? Yeah, it's 5.
Is it 5?
It's 5 in your hand. Zach's trying to cheat already. And there should be 5 here because it's the flip pile. Okay. And you can only have 5 in your hand at a time. Okay.
Well, and you can look at them, dude.
You can look at them now. You can organize them now. If you don't know the rules to Speed, go ahead and stop the podcast after we're done playing and go educate yourself.
Yeah.
Because go play.
Get a childhood.
Get a childhood, yeah. Because we grew up in the church and this is all we were allowed to do.
Yeah. No, but this is before the pads.
We weren't allowed to do Speed.
Phones.
We just played Speed.
But I was pretty high on Speed most of the time.
Yeah, it felt that way too. It was like, I'm
allowed to drink coffee at 10.
All right.
I'm not doing the hot cocoa anymore. I'm doing the coffee.
They think I'm drinking hot cocoa, then I realize it's all caffeine.
Yeah. And we're going to play tag after the church. Oh, you want to be this one?
Ready?
Why would I have to reach over? You should reach this one.
I'm reaching over right now. Look at this. I'm reaching over because you're left-handed.
because I'm lefty.
No, I'm the older brother. I'm just going to have to say
ready and go.
Can we do doubles?
No.
Okay. Go. Oh, shoot. Now you can see my card, can't you?
Son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Let's go.
Let's not go. Relax. Deep breaths, Nathaniel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Dude, okay, did you shuffle before this?
Yes, I did.
I have like pairs.
No, I shuffled like 4 times.
Okay.
It just, it's okay, man.
Cheaters. What you
Okay, ready, yeah, go. Come on, baby.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, I'm about to kick your butt. Right now, everybody, if you're just listening, I have 1 card left out of my drop pile. It looks like Zach over there has 25. Are we ready, folks? We're about to pull for it again. Here we go. We're going to 3, 2, 1.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Come on. Got 2 cards in my hand. Zach has a big draw pile and he's got 5 right now. We have no draws right now. We're gonna pull. Oh gosh, this is not looking good. This is how I also can lose. It's just not getting the right. Not getting anything. What are you doing? Oh, you son of a monkey. Come on, baby. Come on. Don't do this. Why are you playing so cheap right now?
I'm not playing cheap, man. That's how the game goes. I have nothing to play for you.
Sweet.
Damn it.
Let's go. Chantel, look at me right now. I won. Thank you. I just want to tell somebody. I got to tell somebody I won in the moment.
You cheated.
Oh my gosh, I played so good.
You got real lucky is what you did.
Now, I think because we're at 70 minutes, we can just call it that, right?
Oh, no, yeah, you won. It's whatever.
Oh,
You can't play twice.
say it again, though.
You won. He's getting smart now because he used to just not care about winning.
Look how I'm sitting. Do you realize how bad I wanted to win?
Oh, of course. I know. I've been talking up my game a little too hard. But good job, dude.
Now that I won, maybe I will show how you won the last game.
Oh, make it even. It's actually good.
I feel better.
The ones you're winning 2.0 are great because I normally have won those 2.0. The only one you won before was Moncala. You've just been kicking my butt in Moncala.
That was when we used to redline.
Yeah.
I threw it in there.
Yeah. That was a great clip.
Yeah.
But normally you clip back and I win. And so what's going to be great is most of the 2.0s you've been winning. And so we can clip back to those when we do the 3.0s, but those 3.0s are going to be great.
Hopefully by 3 or 4 or 5.0s, we'll have like new games being sent to us by sponsors.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun.
That would be tight.
They have to be good games though to play on the cast. If someone says it's a board game, it's like we can't play it.
No. And you know what is we can also we can do a lot of games via cards.
Yeah. We can do more card stuff. Like strip poker.
Yeah. Whoa. That sounds so fun on the cast.
Yeah, so fun.
It's a great idea. Let's talk about it the next time. We can brainstorm.
Yeah, we'll storm the brains.
Chantel, go ahead and start storyboarding a good strip poker for the Religious Trauma Forum here on Those Boys.
Yes.
Upside down too to really flip it. Actually, they would have to be upside down to cover the balls.
Yeah. Oh, so you're going that far.
Thanks everybody for joining us for episode 25.
Episode 25 of Those Boys.
And we'll catch you in 1 week.
We'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Love you.
Love you.
See you later.
Great job, dude.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you, Chantel, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Chantel.
I keep glancing over at the screen and it's just so nice. It's like it gets very distracting. It's like, oh, wow, we look so good. We look so distracting on me.
Yeah.
All right, love you, bye. Everybody.
Love you, bye.
Okay, bye.